Patrick Haggerty here, Basin Youth for Christ, Broadway Theater in Malin. We are celebrating this week the resurrection of Jesus Christ as we close out the Gospel of John. Man, in advance, I hope that you just this week spend some time reading the glorious stories about the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ as we prepare to celebrate Resurrection Day this Sunday. You can find those stories at the end of either Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We are in the last chapter of John. Jesus has been raised from the dead, and we're going to see the disciples go fishing and have another encounter with Jesus. It says this in John 21. Later, Jesus appeared to the disciples beside the Sea of Galilee. This is how it happened. Several of the disciples were there: Simon Peter, Thomas, nicknamed the twin, Nathanael from Cana in Galilee, the sons of Zebedee, that's James and John, the author of this book, and two other disciples. Simon Peter said, "I'm going fishing." "We'll come too," they all said. So they went out in the boat, but they caught nothing all night. At dawn, Jesus was standing on the beach, but the disciples couldn't see who he was. He called out, "Fellows, have you caught any fish?" "No," they replied. Then he said, "Throw your net on the right-hand side of the boat, and you'll get some." So they did. And they couldn't haul in the net because there were so many fish in it. Then the disciple Jesus loved, that's John, said to Peter, "It's the Lord." When Simon Peter heard it was the Lord, he put on his tunic, for he had stripped for work, jumped into the water, and headed to shore. The others stayed with the boat and pulled the loaded net to the shore, for they were only about 100 yards from shore. And when they got there, they found breakfast waiting for them, fish cooking over a charcoal fire, and some bread. Jesus had made them breakfast. "Bring some of the fish you just caught," Jesus said. Simon Peter went aboard and dragged the net to the shore. There were 153 large fish, and yet the net hadn't torn. "Now come and have some breakfast," Jesus said. None of the disciples dared to ask him, "Who are you?" They knew it was the Lord. Then Jesus served them the bread and the fish. This was then the third time Jesus had appeared to his disciples since he had been raised from the dead. First appearance to the disciples, John records, they're locked in the room. Thomas isn't there. Jesus appears. Jesus said, "Peace be with you." Second time, Thomas is there. And this time, Jesus addresses him in his doubt. Thomas cries out, "Ah, my Lord and my God." And now the third time, they're back at the Sea of Galilee where it all began, where Jesus first met them, where Jesus first called them and said to them, "Hey, follow me." And we take it all the way back to the beginning, when Jesus called Peter the first time. He'd been out fishing all night, just like this time. Had caught nothing, just like this time. Jesus again says, "Hey, cast your net on the right-hand side of the boat. Cast your net on the right side." And they did as the Lord commanded, and the Lord richly blessed them. And Peter, immediately after John identifies Jesus as being the Lord, he responds, he jumps in the water, and he comes to Jesus. But today, I just want to ask that for us, living in 2021 now, I believe that Jesus is calling us to follow him too. I know he is. And he wants us to do as he asks. And I was thinking about so much of the time in our lives as human beings, we sense maybe God leading us to do something. We maybe read his word and we're like, "Oh, this part needs to change," or "I need to respond this way in these circumstances," but it's against what comes normal to us. And it's like Jesus coming to us and saying, "Hey, cast your net on the right side of the boat. I want you to do this." Well, what if the disciples had been out on the sea there that night and have just said, "I'll bag it. You don't know what you're talking about. We fished all night. We're tired. We're done." And they didn't listen to Jesus. Well, they would have missed out on this incredible catch. And I believe that God is calling you and me to simply follow him. And as we follow him, as we listen to what he has to say, and we step out in faith, man, we encounter enormous blessing. We get this truth again today from an eyewitness, John, the disciple. Now, the third time they've seen the resurrected Jesus Christ. No freak accident. It's true, folks. Jesus is alive, and he loves you, and he wants to be involved in our lives, even in 2021. God bless you.